This is week 10. We have been together for 10 straight weeks. Today's topic is mind mastery. Its focus is on accurate thinking and applied faith. I first want to say happy April to everybody. It's April Fool's Day. And I'm going to say that, we have April with us.
Yes.
Not only, yes, sweetheart, this is 30 straight days of you. Loving on you, and everybody in the world is giving attention to April, right? Now, I'm serious, because we either can use the power that the universe is delivering around us, or we can resist it. Mm-hmm. Right now is April Fool's Day. The April Fool is actually the person or the victim, who is the victim of the trick or the hoax that's been played. It's the one who fell into the foolishness of believing in the hoax or the trick. Not a good thing, not a bad thing. Nothing to be said for it, but all day long today, everybody is amplifying their energy into the first day of April. Your name happens to be April. April, in the word itself, means to open.
Yeah, but I'm going to play jokes on everyone all day.
I'm glad you are, because you know what? That's the jovial love and laughter that comes from this, right? It's fun. It's lightheartedness. Guess what happens in that joy and laughter?
People get mad at me.
Well, first of all, there's an opening to love.
Yeah.
There's an opening to laughter. There's an opening to letting go, right? In that openness comes everything. Until you open, you can't reflect, you can't giggle, you can't judge, you can't do anything, right? But in that openness becomes an opportunity now to see all things. If you're really closed in and constricted, you're not going to see things. I think part of the whole April Fool's Day celebration was to shake us loose a little bit, to open to all that the world and life is presenting, because spring just started. And while we in our reality celebrate New Year's on January 1st, the equinox and the solar system, astrology, celebrates it March 1st, with the full moon in March. So that is really the new year, as celebrated in Vedic traditions, in esoteric astrology, and even Western astrology. So April is the second month into this new beginning. And it's calling us to be open, okay, to all that is, to reflect. And so I love that today's lesson fell on April Fool's Day, because it is an opportunity for us. Now, you're named April, which to me just gives you an abundance of love this month. Because everybody in the world is tuning into April and being open and reflecting and doing the work that's necessary to really invite in the rebirth, the blossoming, the budding of newness, seeking expression through us, through each and every one of us. And so as we tune in to mastering the mind today, I want to start with a meditation that helps to center us on this topic, but I really had to share my 2 cents on April and give the wealth of love and gratitude that we literally get to presence and circle and embrace you with this love for an entire 30 days, right? Like it hasn't been enough for the last 10 weeks. We're going to continue this and turn up the volume on you, on the month, and on the meaning and the message it brings all of us. So this is really calling you to receive. You are a phenomenal sending mechanism. I feel like we're all beacons, right? And as a beacon, we send and receive signals. And that shows up to us in our relationships with other people, how we feel inside. And you're amazing at sending because you work directly with people who need you the most, right? This month is all about receiving. So it's really, yes, girlfriend. It's all about turning that and opening yourself up to receiving in big, bold ways and feeling that sense of deservingness and love and adoration and whatever. Yeah, I believe that there is no such thing as happen chance or, it just happened that way. Everything was divinely orchestrated. When your mother picked your name, there was a divine orchestration in all of that for you in this lifetime, in this journey that you entered into called life. And I don't know if any of my words have ever been spoken to you before, but I invite you to listen to them again. Because April really does mean to open. And to open is that first bud that the tree brings forth. It's the first blossom that the flower opens out to. It's the rebirthing of greenness coming back into the grass. And it's the planting of new seeds and us germinating into the newness that we bring forth as well. And part of that is receiving all the love that everyone's giving forth. So without further ado, close your eyes and bring your awareness to your breath. The power in our breath is cleansing. It's healing. It's rejuvenating and regenerating. As we breathe in, I want you to focus on what you're breathing in. That this is literally the love, the joy, the happiness, the life force energy that sustains you. It is all that you are. It is a power bigger and greater than us. And as you breathe that in, let that be your knowing. As you allow the breath to come inward, I invite you to invite all of it in, all the way down deep into the lower lobes of your lungs. I invite you to hold it as long as you're comfortable before you release. And on the release, I invite you to let go of any energy you've picked up along your course of your day from conversations with other people, from troubles or tribulations or challenges, from obstacles, from blocks, from discontenting moments or judgment. And just intend to release anything that no longer serves you. And allow these first full, deep, focused breaths to be intentional, to cleanse the body, to release energies that no longer serve you, to release any thoughts in your mind, tensions in the body, and anything that you might be holding on to, that you choose to let go of, to cleanse, to release, to open up within yourself a place and space ready to receive, ready to rebuild, rebirth, rejuvenate, regenerate, and empower you into all that you are. To hear with clarity and receptivity the inner voice that speaks to us always. Our inner guidance system that's nudging us and guiding our direction, our actions, our words. And just allow this breath to fill you and be the life force energy that sustains you. Today's lesson is about mastering the mind. Mind mastery starts with you being able to step into the observer role. So right now, allow yourself to become the observer and just take notice. From outside your beingness, observe your body, and starting at the top of your head, notice if there's any stress or tension, any thoughts consuming your brain. Notice if there's any tension in your forehead, around your eyes. And with every breath, just intend to release and soften what you observe. Bring that observation down to your cheeks, to the area and the space between your ears. And just notice what needs to be released and let go of. As you bring your awareness down to your jaw, your mouth, your throat. With every exhale, release. And with every inhale, allow the cleansing life force energy to wash away anything you no longer need. Observe your shoulders and just notice if they can drop down even lower into a more relaxed state of being. Notice your shoulder blades and your chest area. If there's any heaviness, any tension, and just relax and soften down as you move down into your solar plex, your rib cage, your stomach, into your hips, and the cheeks of your seat. Down both arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, and hands. And down both legs, knees, shins, ankles, and feet. Next, we'll go a layer deeper and come back up with this observation, taking it into muscles, nerves, tendons, cartilage. Anywhere you might be sensing discomfort, aggravation, maybe holding on to something a little more tightly than necessary. And just observe in the feet. The ankles, are they soft and subtle and mobile and able to move with freedom? Moving up into your shins and your knees. Are the knees free, mobile? Able to move with freedom and mobility, with agility, with ease, with grace. Just breathe in this life force energy to heal and cleanse away anything that's blocking this mobility. Up into your thigh and your hip. The hip joints take a lot of pressure and stress. And now starting at the base of your spine, allowing your spine to shift and move into a gentle, relaxed position that's perfect for you. If there's any shifting to find comfort in your low back, shift. Move to where you are most comfortable and at ease, but yet straight, supported with your own body strength supporting you. And allow your awareness to travel up your spine as you notice and stretch each vertebrae stacked upon one another, as if you're sitting taller and stretching the vertebrae to create that space and alignment within them. All the way up into your shoulders. And bring your awareness into your throat, your neck, and notice if there's anything in your neck area that needs to shift or move. And allow your head to literally just float on top of your being. Bring your awareness to your crown chakra. If you're unsure where it is, allow a circular flow of energy to move through the top part of your skull, the top forehead, around the sides of your scalp and the back of your head. And as it circles and vibrates in a whirlpool of energy flowing in the very center of that sphere of energy, if you move straight up to the top of your head is your crown chakra. Allow it to open and a golden thread to drop down. This golden thread is the energy, the life force energy. We not only receive energy through our breath, we're receiving energy in many ways. So just observe as this cord drops down the center of your head, through your third eye, through the center of your ears, throat, shoulders, falling down the center of your body. As it falls past each and every chakra system and lays forth at the lower dantian, your root chakra. And allow this cord to just be the life force energy. As you breathe, notice the energy breathing into this cord. Allow it to permeate and penetrate, radiate through your entire body, filling every space that you released, any blocks of energy, and allowing that life force energy to fill you with exactly what you need. Whether that's clarity, alignment, whether it's inspiration, guidance, direction, peace, whether it's patience, love. It's all yours. As you tune into it, you bring it forth. So fill yourself up clearly, fully. And as you find yourself full internally, allow your outer energy aura to fill with this life force energy as well, to radiate out around you in all directions, above, below, side to side, and front and back, and everywhere in between. Expand your aura if you're comfortable. If not, pull it close. Wherever your comfort lies, just trust it and go with it. The largest gain in meditation is your ability to stay focused. As you maintain your focus, you strengthen everything within you to take forth into every moment of every day. The more you practice, the more you permeate this into your subconscious. And the actions that you are manifesting here now become second nature, and they come forth easily and readily. And so it is, and so it shall be. To seal this energy, take a big life force breath inward, filling your lungs all the way down to the bottom. Before you release it, intend to release it with an outward sigh of ah. The very the verbal expression is sealing the deal. It is permeating that life force energy within you and bringing forth the resonance within you to permeate and seal the deal and bring it forth in a beautiful way. So move your body, open your eyes, come on back, and ready to receive and grow and move through today's lesson with a gusto and an abundance. Last week was about integrating and doing the work. And you've been doing this all along. The focus on last week was to reach into any areas that still consistently come forth in you to cause you to have to force yourself to remember the new pattern. If they're doing that for a reason. This is where week 3 was all about feedback, and we have to pay attention to feedback. The real spiritual journey is truly about the lessons that are being brought forth for us to relearn, to take those lessons and unpack them. And that's what the doing the work is. That's where we, look at what is my true feeling here and why does this keep showing up for me? And then when we connect with that why, it leads us down a path to something that happened early on in our life that we've created an emotional impression to. And it's really, the spiritual work is doing that healing for that emotional work. So I didn't hear from anybody on anything showing up. So I'm not sure where I stand here and where you stand. I'd like for you to share with me, what showed up over your course of the week. And I went a little deeper into this Friday in a workshop that I did that I opened up to everyone. The first one didn't get recorded, so I sent the recording of the second one out to anybody and everybody who registered, and I didn't check to see who all was on there. The list was large, so I wanted to see where you are in this work, because this real powerhouse of our spiritual growth lies in really doing this work. And these thorns that show up, these little aggravating moments of consistent letting us know there's still something there, is where we really spiritually need to love and embrace that part of us to heal and move beyond. And so I'd love to, hear what you were able to move through and heal and celebrate that as a win, because that's what this moment's really about, is sharing that gratitude and that win that you saw over the week relating to last week. So who wants to go first?
Sure, I'll go ahead. The basics is that I've mostly been just engrossed in daily life. And I didn't get to watching the last Monday's session until yesterday afternoon. And the childhood meditation, I did that also yesterday afternoon, and then continued it, not meditating, but listening and absorbing it while I was driving to pick up the kids. So a lot of what I'm just bouncing between is the high that I had driving home last Monday and holding on to it. There are times that I feel a little bit of anxiety of, oh no, the unknown, but it's like, it's not unknown. This is what I want, and I have the opportunity for change. And so I just pulling myself back to that high level and maintaining it. So, there's a few dips along the way, but it's definitely maintaining that elevated state and the just relief that the unpleasant place that I put myself in, it's over. And trying not to get worked up about unknowns for tomorrow, and instead just taking that, the backpack that you need for the day trip of today. Let's pack the supplies I need today, and let's move through today.
Yeah. Yeah, so the fact that you still have something coming up that that you're working towards, first of all, life really isn't a constant high.
Yeah.
It's the self-regulating. And I think what you just shared was, you're noticing the flow of life and your need to self-regulate, to come back to, when you go down to the unknown. And life is a lot of unknown, but part of us that needs that to survive as well, because that's where growth lies. So you can look at the unknown as fear or future excitement, and that's what you're doing, and that's what I'm hearing in you. So know what you just expressed is all natural. You're laying forth a process. You're you're permeating within yourself this process that you're still having to walk yourself through. Eventually, and this is what mastery is, and this is part of today's lesson, mastery is successfully practicing a process that now gets put into your subconscious and on autopilot for you. So that this is all done with freedom. When you first started walking, you had to think about every step. You no longer think about every step. They just happen naturally. When you first started driving, you were checking the mirrors. You were in this, 360 awareness of everything that you were told to do. Turn your blinker on, do this. Now it just is pre-programmed, right? Mastery is you setting up the process, and you're still in the process. You're right on track. This week is about honing that deeper into really becoming a natural, so that it's more permeated. So I love how you shared that. You didn't use the words I would use. You were in the storytelling. I want you later on in this call to tell it without the story, sharing your process, because it's in you honing your process where the real growth happens for you. Okay.
I mean, it's pretty simple. It really,
well, we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. April, tell me about last week and what was your big win after last week's work and the integrating?
My big win was actually the inner child meditation. I just ugly cried.
Yeah.
It was good though. I mean,
did the cry feel like compassion or pain?
It felt like release. Yeah, like a big weight. It was just oh, okay, I can, be nice to that little person. But I did have some things come up. It's just old, very, very old negative thinking patterns that would just come at me. I'm like, hey, I knew right away. I'm like, why is it showing up? It would be little no one likes you, or I'm like, what? Wait, where did that even come from?
Yeah. So why do you think it showed up?
I honestly don't know, because I don't.
It showed up for healing. Yeah. Last week's lesson was clear. It's showing up to be healed. It's showing up for you to do the spiritual work of learning the lesson it came to teach you. And that really requires you sitting with that younger part of yourself. And that's what Friday's workshop was all about. It was, half on, just explaining that, but then the other half was on really taking you deeper into that guided meditation to do the work. The meditation I shared with you took you into acknowledging that child, noticing a timeline of, where it wanted to take you to feel something, and then tuning into what was being felt there. When you said you're not worthy or something, that is what was necessary for you to go deeper into. Well, sweetie, why do you feel that way?
I don't.
But you do, or that wouldn't have come up. And that's where your adult self doesn't. You're right. You, April, as the adult that you are in life today, you don't, because you're not wanting to hear what this child still owns. This part of you And I hate the word child. I really do. Only because for me, it doesn't resonate. Okay. What resonates with me is that deep within us is a wounded part of us that we are consciously blocking out. Whether we think we are or we think we aren't, we are. Whether we're aware of it or not, we don't want to hear it. But it lies for real in our subconscious. And until we can own that, we haven't done the spiritual work. It doesn't mean anything wrong or bad about you. You may have come into this lifetime with a generational wound from your mother, your father, an ancestral wound that hasn't been totally processed through. And there's a part of you that needs to compassionately love this angst that's been deeply impressioned within you. And the only reason it would show up is because it still needs healing at a deeper level. We can focus in and control our mind, but until we really do the emotional mastery, which is next week, and all next week is honing in deeper on last week. So if you haven't done last week's work, you got to go backwards, and you may have to go backwards all the way to week 3, because the first time I introduced this was week 3 about feedback. Everything is simply feedback. It isn't good or bad. It's just feedback, and it's here to help us. It's here to grow us. It's here to evolve us forward to the next growth of us. But part of that growth sometimes requires us to take a few steps backwards and reflect on things that we're not aware of, but keep showing up. Okay, and I mean, this is the process that you'll have to master, so that even later in your growth, because these lessons don't stop showing up. At every level of your growth, new ones show up for you that weren't there before. So to me, mastering the process of the work that needs to be done is the self-reflection, is the connection. The reason Carl Jung brought up the inner child work is because he thought that parent-child relationship was a good way for people to understand this. Okay? I don't like talking about my inner child, because to me that's a separation from all that I am. But I do understand I have a subconscious, and all my subconscious is a collection of habits, patterns, thoughts, and beliefs that I've practiced and modeled so long, I put them on autopilot. And that's where my subconscious lies. It becomes my dutiful servant in life to say, this is what Donnelly likes. Let's do it for her, because she's practiced it enough now that she's no longer having to practice it. We'll do it for her, right? So all those threads of things that aren't serving you are something you practiced at a very young age. From 0 to 6, our mind operated mostly in theta. Theta is literally, 4 waves per second, a very slow receptive mode. That's a state common to hypnosis, where we enter into someone else's mind to reprogram it. So that's a state of receptivity. We get there in meditation. That's why if we meditate on our own affirmations that are in our believable state, and that's another thing about affirmations we need to talk about, because if your affirmation's too far out there for your belief, you're hindering your growth instead of helping it. But this whole part of the mind, and this is the understanding of the mind and how it operates, that theta is complete receptivity. As a small child in complete receptivity, we didn't have the ability to cognitively process what was coming at us. We took it in full force. And if we didn't have a greater, bigger picture of the landscape of why someone behaved the way they were, we took it in as we were at fault. We did something wrong. We weren't worthy. Our parents could have been having a really bad day or confused in their own life and said something or projected their confusion, their insensitivity, their busyness, and we perceived it. as we're not worthy, right? We were highly impressionable because our brains operated at a slow, receptive mindset to take that all in as our program. But our caregivers, they were only as good as they were in that moment. And you know what that's like. We all shift. Lonnie, you just said it. We're shifting all day long, every day. No matter who we are, I'm shifting all day long, every day. And that self-regulation is bringing you back, right? It's realizing these are highs and lows. And if you think of the infinity symbol that is number 8 lying on its side, right? That center where all 4 of those waves meet, right, is our 0 point. That's the place we come to of complete fullness, completeness, harmony, connected to the higher self within us. And these expressions are feelings, thoughts, emotions we go through each and every day, and we always come back to this center point, right? But if there's one that keeps showing up, especially in that meditation, because the meditation was to bring forth the subconscious aspects that we're not aware of, we got to go deeper. We got to go and do the reflection. We got to go into asking the whys. We got to go into understanding the truth in that moment, and then retelling the story, releasing the old and retelling the story with a truth that aligns for us. It isn't my truth. It's got to be your truth. So where's your win? You loved the meditation. You felt it was really benefiting you. Mm-hmm. Have you been able to work through anything that it brought up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What specifically? Yeah, what specifically can we celebrate with you as a win? What is it?
You mean during the meditation? Is that what you mean?
No, just last week.
Just last week? Like, even though I had those like intrusive, like negative thoughts that really came out of nowhere, I was still remained calm and kind of didn't let it ruin my day or anything like that. Didn't let it kind of take me in another direction, didn't attach to it, kind of let it do its thing. And I'm like, okay, well, thanks for coming, but I don't need that right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to invite you to do a specific meditation to go deeper into each one of those. That's where the real spiritual work is. And there's a lesson for you in that will send ripples out throughout your life to heal other areas as well. This is how it works. When we literally do that release and healing of these traumatic, impressioned thoughts that we've created and permeated within us, we heal many things along the journey, and not just for us. For our family, for our sisters, our brothers, our children, we do the work, and everybody gets healed. We all have a collectiveness we share with one another. That's this oneness of all that we are, right? And as one heals, many heal. So keep doing it. Keep your growth, and you're seeing it, I'm seeing it, is in the separation, is in not being sucked into that emotion or feeling and letting it have you. So you're mastering that area, but take it another step deeper to heal it. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. So my questions are, we know that you're in control of your mind, right? The mind doesn't control you. However, when you started here 10 weeks ago, I think both of you were looking for happiness. Can you see that happiness now is always within you?
Yeah.
Can you see it too, Lonnie?
Yes.
Okay. So are we fair to say then that noticing that is noticing you have control over the mind? The mind doesn't control you anymore. So you'll have to take ownership then that you've gained some control of your mind. Whether or not fully where you want to be, you've gained a whole heck of a lot at this point, because you've come to the conclusion that you are happy and that it lives in you always. You just got to align back to it. And part of that is noticing where your thoughts are, noticing the stories and the thinking that's going on within. So mindset is all part of this. And when you started, your mind was set on the fact that you weren't happy. Would you agree?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the mind then was fixed. It was fixed on a story that you were telling it. No one was telling it to you. No one was saying, you're miserable, your life sucks, right? You're not happy. I mean, that might be what you were modeling. So if it came from someone else, it was only being viewed by your by your behavior, by your actions, by the way you stood and presenced yourself. And happiness does come from within. When you're happy, your energy begins to radiate out, and that begins to be felt and noticed and seen. So it's a mindset. And we can question and ask ourselves, where is my mind set at? Because while mindset is us being fixed or set in a particular space or place, that really isn't the goal or the objective purpose here. It isn't to permanently fixate us in one area. It is to be flexible, to go through the whole rebalancing and re-regulating and self-regulating of the self, to feel different feelings and emotions and come back to center point, right? That center point is where we get to take all of life in without an opinion, without a judgment, without, a rigidness of defining it or deciding what it means for us. So mastering your mind is a process, and you've been applying it. And while there is no one way, right way to get there, each one of us will tweak and alter and do what we feel is best for us. I want you now to take into your mind what it is that you put into place to bring you back to this center place. What process, what words would you use to describe, without telling a story or giving us an example of when you applied it? Put into your words that process, starting with, I notice, or I'm aware, right? And then take us through an understanding of how you come back to that 0 point, that point where you're connected back with infinite intelligence, with the spirit within, where all your power lies. You're back to joy and happiness and love, without judgment, without, right? There's power in you explaining this in your words. Who wants to go first?
You want to lead it, April, or do you want me to go?
You go. Hate going first. I don't know why.
So when I notice that I'm not in that 000 point, I anchor first. Use my physical hand gesture, anchor, feel the connection with spirit, make sure that I'm open to feel spirit, invite spirit in, and then that just gives me the right alignment, that I get nudged where I need to go, and then I can get clarity. If it's something I did, then I'm okay to say, I made a mistake, I'm sorry, I love me, and then I can move on.
Beautiful.
If I reacted to outside stimulus, it's the same thing. The same anchor, the same acceptance and love of spirit, and I'm sorry, I forgive me, and I love me, and move on.
Beautiful. Perfect. Yeah, beautiful explanation. I was able to go there as you spoke to that connection, and to me that connection is just an openness. It expands open my heart center to step right back into what that feels like to be in that connection of pure love and pure acceptance and no judgment, and everything just kind of washes away. So everything I was feeling a moment ago is sort of almost washed clean by that connection, by that anchoring back in.
And it works also for me with that child meditation. There was the line used that, I'm sorry I wasn't there to protect you.
Yep.
I'm here for you now.
Thank you.
And in that, I had a little bit of guilt, but then let's repeat the process of recognize, anchor, accept, love, and forgive. Yep. And it's like, wow.
Yep. Beautiful. Beautiful. So you hit it spot on. I was going to speak some different words and share that, this week's focus, while it's on mastering the mind doesn't control us unless you let it, right? But mastering the mind helps us notice the CCJ, which is the criticizing, the condemnation, and the judgment, right? And sometimes that condemnation is on us. Like, oh, I feel guilt. And it's like, oh my gosh, let that go, right? Mm-hmm. And then self-regulating. But, I say it's find it, own it, and fix it, right? Find it, own it, and change it. And in doing that work, you find it when it feels uncomfortable. And something you're thinking is out of alignment with your higher self. So, April, how would you put words to your alignment in mastering your mind?
So I just say this to myself. Mine's not as cool as Lonnie's, but
they're all perfect for us. So know that. And that's why this is so beautiful, is there's no one way. You're so unique and you're so special and you're so amazing. You're able to create a way that's right for you. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's what you've done. So own this. This is what really works for you. Right?
So if I kind of feel like out of alignment, all I do is kind of anchor myself back in, and I say, I am aligned with my higher self. I am aligned with spirit. I release all that does not serve me, whether these are thoughts, emotions, energies. I am just here. I am present. Forgive me. Thank you. I love you. This is it's a little thing. And I added those last three when we went over the I can never remember how to say
Ho'oponopono.
Yeah.
So you found Ho'oponopono pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It is truly speaking one of the most loving and compassionate things we can do, because it's us that's having an offness within ourselves. And it could pop up when a loved one's speaking. When we really notice this stuff is when we step outside our normal everyday activities and we're around new people, right? New groups of friends, new people we don't know, acting and behaving in ways that aren't normally common in our everyday environment. Because we can master doing this with our loved ones, our children, our partners, our spouse, right? Our parents. We can master those that show up every day in our life because we just create a habit knowing their behavior and just releasing it, right? Letting them be. But where the real work comes is when we step outside our comfort zone into doing new things. So how do you do this when you step outside into new areas? And one thing is goal setting. And the other one is expecting perfection in yourself. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you expect perfection in yourself? And just think about that for a minute. Do you love and accept your faults in all that you are and do? Do you reflect on them and learn from them? Or do you tend to be a little hard on yourself still and still notice them as real faults and want to sit in the fault-bearing mode longer than necessary?
A combination of them.
Okay.
I still expect perfection out of myself, but I don't beat myself up or dwell on it. When I'm less than perfect, it's more of a sigh, and then, okay, well, that's human. And that was the best I could do.
Yep. Perfect.
And it's good enough.
So you're generating a new pattern, and you're in the process of releasing this. Soon the subconscious will kick in, and you'll just automatically go to that, oh, hey, I'm human. And you'll just go into acceptance mode. That's the next step. So you've started it. So April, where are you at in that question? Do you still expect perfection? Or do you? Okay. So what happens for you when you get to that point?
What point?
Well, we all have it. When we reflect upon ourselves. So
like a mistake or something like that?
Well, so first of all, you've got a planner that I provided. And if you're filling out the planner, you've got goals and action steps you're setting. And if you didn't master them, whether that be, something you're working on with your partner, within yourself, with your health, with your well-being, you've got goals. If you're not mastering those goals and checking them off with success, how do you feel? What's your result?
Let's try again.
Okay, so explain that.
If there's something that I want to accomplish and I can't, or I don't accomplish it in the time frame that I expected it to, that doesn't mean I give up on it.
Okay, so what are you doing to move forward to master it in the future? Because this whole goal setting thing is the next question.
Okay, hold on.
I'm going to take us into.
Hold on, my phone is about to die. Hold on.
Find that charger.
I'm sorry, I don't have a charger. I forgot to charge my charging case. So I am going to have to get back to you guys. I'm so sorry. Wait, hold on.
Well, you can stay with us till it completely dies.
But then this is all I have for the rest of the day.
Oh. Sorry about that. Yep.
No, that's okay. All right.
I'm thinking you got something in your car or, yeah, no.
Until 5 o'clock. All
Okay.
right. I will talk to you guys later on today.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Lonnie, let's go through the rest of these. So goal setting, and you've set a lot of goals during these 10 weeks, and you've really been pushing through, moving through what I consider mastery. So I hope you're seeing that, right?
Absolutely.
Everything you've mentioned today is setting in place a firm process that in no time going forward, in real due time, like soon, you're going to be seeing your ability to notice the process taking over for you, right?
Yeah, I feel like the GPS is still set, and I use it occasionally, but I know the path I need to do.
Yep.
But I still use it as backup right now.
Perfect. That's a good way of putting it. So on your goal setting, how do you feel about goal setting? Do you only set goals that you kind of know in the back of your mind that you can achieve? Or are you at a point now where you're really able to reach into the unknown and set bigger, bolder goals that you know really stretch and grow you?
Well, I think that's two separate questions. So I know I can achieve the goals, but that I also can acknowledge that I can set goals that take a lot of work to achieve. So
no. Take the work out.
Well, to me,
your analytical mind still coming back in, and I really, this is all about goal setting and noticing. Part of the growth here was a goal had to be something you couldn't just step into today.
Well, sure, but
okay.
I mean, I can achieve better social interactions. I can achieve comfort in group settings, and I can handle the conversation. I know I can do it. So, but it's still a goal that I need to get there to do it. I don't believe it's beyond the abilities I possess.
Yep.
I just like the education programs. I believe I can do it. I don't have the tools yet. So it's still a goal to achieve it. For me, do the work. it's not a bad word. It's just a descriptive word. You have to do the work, walk the path to get there.
Got it. So part of this question was going to bring me to the last topic of this call, which was applied faith. Mm-hmm. And this call or this question was, how do I feel about setting goals? And it's really a valid question for all of us to think about. So the fact that this is being recorded, April can come back and listen to it. But that goal setting, generally speaking, most of us set goals we think we can achieve. I'm going to try and lose 10 pounds. Mm-hmm. But we really do say that I'm going to try. We really don't commit to I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. We sort of soften and let ourselves out of mastering it because we aren't real certain we can achieve it because we've never done it before. We've never kept it off. Right? So this is kind of that pattern that we set goals that we think we can achieve. Okay. Mm-hmm. And part of us really owning this anchoring in that we've been doing. And I noticed you both said the same thing. She anchors in with that as well. Mm-hmm. She just labels it and describes it a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. But it's anchoring into the power that breathes us and this life force energy that really is bringing us through life, right? And when we bring that forth, there's a trust. There's a stepping into the unknown with a faith, with an applied faith that we really have no idea. We have a goal, a vision of what it might look like. Like we would love to feel this with our new job, valued, respected, pushed to really, apply ourselves and grow and connect with other people and so on and so forth. We have desires and a vision for what we want it to look like. Mm-hmm. But then we really back off and come back to that 0 point and anchor into that faith of the unknown, that it's bigger than you can really do. And it's not something you have to work at, like hard work. I have to keep doing something to get there. But what happens in that anchoring into that applied faith is that inspiration comes. Inspired action shows up within you, and you don't even feel like you're working at it, but this inspired action to reach out to that XYZ company and send them your resume shows up for you, right? Like out of the blue, without scoping Indeed for hours, right? Mm-hmm. It just like shows up and lines up in your path. So that's what I'm getting at with this. How comfortable are you setting goals that are outside your, it's really stretching yourself into faith. It's really stretching yourself to step into that faith. And that's that interconnection as well. So to me, that's really the full push into our connectedness with spirit is faith. And just take a minute to share. I know you've stepped into a lot of faith this whole 10 weeks. I see it. But how do you put it to words? How do you notice it in yourself? And how do you push yourself to have more faith?
Well, a couple of pieces that I totally have faith that things are great. Things are going to continue to be great. By the same token, I don't believe I can take my resume, fold it to paper airplane, throw it out the window, and it's going to land on the right desk. I don't have faith in that.
It isn't, but that's not how faith works. Faith, when you have faith, you believe that this power outside of you that breathes you, this life force energy, is lining up for you the next steps. And it brings forth in you, in spirit, the right next step, the action steps to take. Like they show up in an email or from a friend of a friend who says, apply here. Or, and that's how it works. That faith starts showing up in other people all around you. So we stop saying no to what the universe is bringing us, because in that saying yes could be the next connection for the next step.
And some of that for the specific detail is like the Caleres job is a supply chain operations.
Okay.
For 16 years, I've said planner. And No, I'm gonna or update the resume again. Focus on the supply chain side of things. That's the Caleris position, and through my wife's network, which encouraged me to get out of comfort zone and talk more.
Yeah.
I met people, and then I met vice presidents, and I talked with them, and a supply chain job is available. My cousin knows the St. Louis VP and is really good friends with him, and so he put in a good word for me. And the job responsibilities are so fantastic. It's a lot of fun, and the education programs I'm doing, I think, are supplemental bonuses to what that job entails. And to me, it's such a beautiful picture and exciting.
Yeah. So you just put words to it by giving me a story in your life. How could you explain it? Because this is what applied faith looks like. You're trusting in the moment. You're showing up. You're being open. You're embracing what other people say into words that are meant for you, right? So this is what applied faith looks like. You're doing the work. You're doing the work, but you can't speak it yet in a process of how to continually apply it. So reflect on putting words to how you are already orchestrating and living applied faith in your life, because everyone and everything around us is speaking to us through spirit to guide us for our next step. But are you listening? Are we acting? And that's where this inspired action comes from, right? It didn't come as effort. They tell you to speak and get out and do more speaking and networking, and oh my gosh, you just step into it. And while it was uncomfortable, you did it anyway, and you see where it's taking you. Each step is coming forth with a new, listen, open up, change this, realter that, right? That's where this faith comes from. You're already doing it. But how can you word it now to where you put it into action in all areas of life and then eventually begin to teach it to your children?
And my first thought is when you're looking down your options, down the paths, the one that warms your heart, feels the right way. And so you go down that path, you take the actionable steps to get you the next step down the path, and the actionable step to get the next one. The pot of gold doesn't just show up on your door, but if you follow that right path and you take the steps required to advance yourself, then you get there. And know that it is the right thing to do and going to be great, is great the whole way.
Yeah. Really good. Be open every day to everything that the universe is showing you. Because every day in every way, opportunities surround you. Everything's right within our reach. We really don't have to reach far. It might be that we're supposed to open up to a conversation with somebody in line at the store or while waiting for our kids, right? I mean, who knows? But just being open every moment in the now without our mind being in that agenda. So with that, I'm going to let this call come to a close, because that was a lot that we talked about. But this is all about mastering the mind and yet being in alignment with all that we are, coming back to that 0 point. And that 0 point is mastering the mind. It's clearing all the stuff that comes in to clutter it and keep us from being present in the now. And it sounds like you've got this down pat, so congratulations. I see great strides in mastery, whether you see them or not. They're all in progress, and they're all working divinely and beautifully. And for both of you, for April as well. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Share your wins as we go through the week, and anything that you're putting forth as you begin to articulate words to the process. it'll only permeate the process for you. So I'm really going to encourage you to begin to articulate what you notice yourself doing. As you do, it doesn't mean that it'll be someone else's journey, but it'll allow you a way to share it with others. Mm-hmm. and mostly like your children and people like that, where they'll still develop their own personal way. Mm-hmm. It'll take them further on their journey. Just hearing your articulation, it'll mm-hmm. help them resonate with it for you. So, yeah. Beautiful. And so it is, and so it shall be. Have fun with this. You're doing amazing.
Thank you. It feels great. Feels great.
Yeah. Yeah. And whether you're on that high or not, the transformation in you is obvious. I mean, mm-hmm. there's no denying it. So congratulations.
Thank you.